Hello everyone and welcome back to the Triple Crown Wargaming studio, where you are joined by the whole team. That's me the Lawmaster, him the Chieftain and him the Duke.
Hello.
As we bring you this exciting snippet whilst we talk to you about the top three lists.
Well, 5, 3, 6, 7, 10.
2. Lovely.
1!
Lists from this year's, that's 2022's, Derby Deathmatch event. The inaugural. Derby Deathmatch.
It was.
So I said top 3, 5, because then Max inserted random numbers. Because 5th place through to 2nd were all on exactly the same tournament point score. Yeah, tournament point score. 21 was what they scored.
Mm-hmm.
Which
blackjack,
is 4 wins and a loss.
Yes.
And number 1 was 4 wins and a draw. So no one got the big 5.
No.
No one.
So disappointed.
Which is tight at the top. There was a lot of those guys that gave each other real bashings.
Yeah.
In the top kind of mix of it, which is awesome to see. So the thing that knocked sort of 5th and 4th out of the top 3 running was, well, we'll start with 5th. 5th place was Bretonians. That was James Coldrick's army.
It was.
And James had actually a really good score. He won 4, as we say, and lost 1, and actually would have been much, much higher. I think he might have even reached the dizzying heights of 2nd
I think he would have.
if he'd had a fully painted army.
Yeah.
But he lost the painting points, which was the 2nd tie break on the day, and that bumped him all the way down to 5th.
He would have. He would have
now,
been 2nd.
4th place was the...
By, like, 800 victory points.
Ever pain in my side, John Lamin, with his Skaven.
The continual 4th placer recently.
Yeah, he's done 2 4th place finishes this year. He'd be very disappointed with that.
I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, no, I'd be pleased as well.
Top 10, baby. Come on.
But he had Skaven, and he missed out on victory points, to be honest.
He did, which is not often that John misses out on places for victory points.
The 3rd tiebreaker, but as he said himself, Skaven, he thinks they're a very mission-orientated faction, which is why he brought them to this event, and he definitely played missions hard. And didn't necessarily have the opportunity.
Go for the throat.
Well, the opportunity or the list to get the victory points for a lot of his games. He was just like, "There's no way I'm going to get those points."
Yeah.
So we're not going to go too deeply into both of their lists. We just wanted to give you an idea of the spread at the top and how close it was. Any one of those 5 players,
within touching distance.
yeah, was you know, going in on game 4. There was 4 or 5 people that could have won. I think James, unfortunately, was always going to be hamstrung by his paint score.
Yes.
Because it's such an important tie break when all your competitors have it. But certainly the other 4, 4th place upwards, any one of them could have still been in the running, depending on how results fell out.
Yeah.
So
I think even 6th and 6th and 7th actually could have all been up there.
Could have slipped in. Yeah. But so that was James Coldrick with Bretonians in 5th. Lovely to see Bretonians right up the top of the tournament. Yeah. And then John Lamin with Skaven in 4th. Again, great to see Skaven chipping around. Although Callum has put in some fantastic Skaven performances over the last couple of years, it's great to see Skaven kind of chipping up there again. An army that's notoriously tricky to kind of
get the big
I think
get the big placements.
Yeah,
you just don't have the skill that John has.
Well, he didn't have the skill at top 3, did he? Into our top 3 though. Yes. And we're going to begin with 3rd place, which was Chris Trey's Undead Legion.
It is Undead Legion.
Wasn't that a surprise?
Did very well.
See an Undead Legion back.
See quite a few of Legion's lists actually.
4
rather over the weekend.
I think there
was a few.
There's 2 legions, the Undead and the Grand Legion.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
There weren't any elf legions.
There was definitely a feeling that for some people that they went legions to get themselves in the bracket because they normally take really, really big pluses.
Yep.
And so legions. But I also think some of the guys saw an opportunity maybe to explore a different list.
Yeah.
As well, and I would describe Chris's list as definitely a different one. Would you like to fire it in for us?
So he started off with Vlad, the Mortarch of Shadow, so that's End Times Vlad.
Ooh.
In the hero slot, we have a Tomb Prince with a shield and the Dragon Helm. We also have a level 1 Vampire on the Lore of Vampires with Heavy Armour, Enchanted Shield, Book of Arcan, Aura of Dark Majesty, and Fear Incarnate. In core, we've got 30 crit goals, 2 units of 5 Direwolves, a unit of 40 zombies with Standard Bearer and Musician, a unit of 36 zombies with Standard Bearer and Musician. Special, we've got 2 Bat Swarms, one unit of 2 bat swarms. Unit of 35 Graveguard with great weapons, full command, and the Banner of the Barrows. 2 individual spirit hosts. And then in rare, we've got 5 Blood Knights with Musician, Standard Bearer, and the Banner of Eternal Flame, and a Casket of Souls.
So it's literally just Vampire Counts with 2 imprints to give those what do you call them?
And a
Graveguard.
casket.
Weapon skill 5.
And a casket.
Yeah.
And Mortark Vlad.
Yeah.
So Mortark Vlad has a sort of like anti-shooting synergy as like a bubble of minus to hit.
No, he gives his unit -1 to be hit in combat.
Yeah. I
thought it was -1 to hit with everything, to be honest.
No, I think
I'd have
it's
to go
combat.
grab the book. But
Go grab the book. We'll send him off camera. He can grab the book and we'll check. But certainly, as Max said, 2 imprints jumps in that big unit Graveguard. +1 to hit, weapon skill 5. Excellent.
Yeah.
Spirit hosts are always a nuisance. Nice to see someone bring in a couple of individual spirit hosts.
I hate spirit hosts.
I love them.
They've sort of slipped out a little bit. People seem to have stopped taking them. Not really sure why. Excellent choice. Blood Knights are a shocker. Didn't have a chance to ask Chris how he found them.
Well, I did see in one game he charged into a Witch Elf block with a Cauldron of Blood, and then the Witch Elves came out the other side.
Yeah, they did.
That I'm not surprised by, though.
Yeah.
Alright, Mortark of Shadow. All enemy units, all the regular Vlad stuff. But Mortark of Shadow, all units within 12 inches of Vlad suffer -1 penalty to their leadership. In addition, all shooting and close combat attacks directed against Vlad or his units suffer a -1 penalty.
I knew he had a shooting one as well, which would be helpful.
So that's pretty good.
So he had some really good leadership shenanigans there as well, because he had Aura of Dark Majesty as well, so
and Fear Incarnate.
He could drop 2 off and then force you to fail a fear check, which I imagine would have got a lot of mileage out of those.
Vlad doesn't have his powers anymore.
Well, he doesn't have his vampire powers.
No.
I can't remember what ones he's got in the book. He's got Terror.
He's got Supernatural Horror, Fear Incarnate, and Beguile.
Has he got Fear Incarnate?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
He's got Beguile, I think.
Yeah.
He can also mix and match his little spells.
His magic, yeah.
Yeah, he's only level 3 though, isn't he?
Shadow, Death, and Vampires, and Undeath.
Yeah. He's only level 3 though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is big, having only a level 3 wizard.
But then he does get a plus comp point for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh no, he doesn't. Sorry, that's a lie.
No, you don't have a free plus.
It's not a free plus, but he did have a casket.
Yeah,
which will help.
Which helps.
Yeah.
It's more the dispelling.
What's the?
No scroll either.
He's still got Cast Iron Ring though, which makes
him... Cast Iron Ring, so does Blood Drinker and the
really
Horror.
Great General.
Yeah, he just has Terror naturally now.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't have Super Action Horror, no needed.
No needed.
No needed.
Max works well.
And he gets he gets the hunger back on the 4+ from Blood Drinker, which also gives him +1 strength, as we know.
His stats are the same, aren't they?
I mean, the hunger and Blood Drinker kind of just defeat the purpose of each other, because the hunger for Vlad, any close combat attacks in which Vlad has cause an unsaved wound, roll a d6, on a 4+ he regains 1 wound.
Yeah, it's bad formatting.
Yeah.
Normally this would occur on a d6 roll of a 6, but this is improved by Blood Drinker.
So below, which he then explains.
Yeah.
Why?
Very silly.
Why?
But badly worded. But you know, like you say, the big risk there is the
magic
on leadership. But he's got a really survivable general because he comes back to life.
Does.
He's also -1.
He's got 4 at wall save as well.
He does. He's got skill 7, -1 to hit.
Yeah.
And that applies.
With all the fear shenanigans and leadership shenanigans as well.
And that applies to any unit he joins, which
and
is
he still is a
huge.
vampire at that point. He says
5
attacks, strength 5.
No slouch in combat.
I would imagine that this list used the Graveguard to grind out the results effectively,
Yeah.
because I imagine it'd be -1 to hit a weapon skill 5.
Yeah.
From the games I saw Chris play, I know he was very protective of his Graveguard. He sort of sent everything as to grind everything else down. The Graveguard came to sweep everything up.
Yeah, and I can see that in this type of event being really, really good tactic. He's got 2 big blocks of zombies that are not going to be easy to get through, and
even when they are, they're not a lot of points.
That block of Graveguard that's really unpleasant. This looks to me like a classic hammer and anvil. He's got the Spirit Host for pinning, and then the Blood Knights and the Graveguard to come in and do the big damage. I like it. It's unusual, and it just goes to prove that fundamentally, this is the gut of this list is still vampires.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, as we always say, vampires are great. They're a really versatile army. You can build lots of good builds with them.
Never a fan. Never a fan.
Let's move on into always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Mr. Chris Hale.
Second place again.
Chris, second place Hale.
So the Undead Legions was a -1. The third place list.
It was
yeah,
-1.
sorry. And Chrissy's was a -2, and he was using his Wood Elves again.
That's all he can use, apparently.
Dissimilar.
Very similar, I would say.
To the list he bought to the Triple Crown GT, which he also came second.
I think we'll bring up the point he wants us to make. in a second.
Yeah, we'll bring it up in a minute.
So, go on, Scott.
So his lord, his general was a Spellweaver, a level 4 wizard on the Law of Shadow. Law of Shadow in the top 3.
Good law.
Yeah.
I don't know why he was used on the Mortark. He was nicking any shadow magic in either.
With the Moonstone of the Hidden Ways, the Earthing Rod, and the Talisman of Endurance. Heroes, we've got a Glade Captain BSB with the Armour of Fortune and the Iron Curse icon. In his core, he's got 22 Eternal Guard with full command and shields, and 4 units of 10 Glade Guard, all with Hagbane tips, so that's the poison arrows. No command on any of them. In special, there's 2 units of 10 Deepwood Scouts, both with Truthlight arrows, 5 War Dancers, 7 Wild Riders with a Standard Bearer, shields, and the Banner of Eternal Flame, 5 Wild Riders with a Champion and shields, and a Great Fire Dragon.
He does like his Great Fire Dragon.
He does like a big old dragon.
That comes out of the
Monstrous
Compendium
Yep.
for us.
Yeah.
So, as you say, not hugely dissimilar to what he ran before.
No.
It blasts you about. It's
lots of shots.
We said Wood Elves would be good because it's good at sort of dancing and not giving away a ton of victory points. You finally get there, you hit a unit and you get 150 points. Have a lovely afternoon. It's not a lot. The Moonstone's really good choice in this type of event where you can grab the Eternal Guard with the Wizarding and drop them from forest to forest effectively. Saving those points.
Yep.
And the Dragon, I think he stumbled on something really cool with the Dragon. It's really working for him, and I think it's because it gives a big, scary, quick threat that people try to deal with, which means the Wild Riders get in and do their damage, which is amazing, and it means that he gets a bit of heat taken off the Glade Guard whilst they try and deal with the Dragon.
Yeah.
And invariably, that's scoring him a lot of points in games.
Yeah.
He scored very high on victory points.
He's pretty much a Star Dragon. He's Star Dragon stats.
Yep, with the Strength 4 Flaming Breath weapon.
Terrifying.
Which is really strong.
It is. It does cause
because it can strip regen once per game as well, and then you can
with
blast that with all the poison and the Truth Light. So it's worked out well for him. He did have a champion in the 5-man Wild Rider unit.
Yeah, which he did want us to point out that he knows he's not optimised, and I pointed out everyone knows it's not optimised.
Really?
Yeah.
I take the champion all the time. I disagree vehemently with people on this.
No.
I think the champion's great. I don't see what's not optimised about him personally. You get an additional attack and there's no drawback.
There's just no need. Save the 10 points.
And do what with it?
Put a musician/banner on any one of these Glade Guard. So I'm pointing at my screen. Any of the Glade Guard.
Yeah,
they should have musicians at least for me.
Yeah, I would probably have musicians. I wouldn't have as many scouts as he's got though for that.
No.
I'd just have a few less and do that there, and I'd keep the champions. I like them. Just me.
Yeah.
Personal preference.
I don't think one attack's worth 10 points on a Wild Rider when you've already got 3 plus the stags.
1 out of 4.
Why not both? Drop the Fire Dragon. Take both.
Find another 16 points. You can have another Wild Rider.
Why do I want to do that?
17 points.
Just want an extra attack. It's fine. But
it's a very strong list. The dragon helps massively, like you said. It takes a lot of heat off the rest of the army.
Yeah, I think that's what's working
and it dances
about it
really
for him.
well.
Yeah, it just sort of sits off of you, which is ideal in this sort of event. Although he did get a lot of victory points, he would be the first to say that it wasn't necessarily designed with that in mind. It was designed very much to not concede many and to nick the wins, which is what this type of event, this win-loss draw, is all about.
Yeah.
And certainly he got on some sticky wickets. He had the Skaven in game 4, and he was we rolled it out, and it was battle for the pass, and he was desperately concerned that they were going to get Blood Glory, because he had literally one unit with all the fortitude in the world in it, which could have been turned into rats at any given moment.
Yes, but equally he then had to play Blood and Glory in the final game against the winner, Michael's list, who we'll go for in a second. And actually, Battle for the Pass would have been so much better for him.
Well, he said that he wanted 2 Battle for the Pass, really. No Blood and Glory. Which,
that is the joys of being a Wood Elf.
The joys of being a Wood Elf. But to be fair, I thought I was very surprised he didn't win that, and the last game as well, because all credit to Michael, he was another player that came very light on fortitude points, and a few people did, and it was a big gamble that seemed to pay off for both first and second place lists in this event. So shall we have a look at the winner?
Yeah, Michael Duff with his Demons of Slaanesh. I would call it Demons of Chaos, but it's basically just Demons of Slaanesh.
If people hear, Demons won again. It's not Demons, it's not typical Demons.
No, it's very much
different.
not typical Demons. It is a +1 list as well, so it's a plus list that came away with it. So, Lords, we've got a Keeper of Secrets, level 4, again, Law of Shadow.
Just the Undead Legions, was that secondary caster in that list a
Vampires.
Shadow Vampire?
No, Vampire's Vampire.
So yeah, it's just interesting. Shadow's made a real resurgence this year. Real resurgence in Laura Shadow.
And that keeper has got 2 greater gifts. Fishing for 2 palm save.
Yep.
Heroes, we've got Herald of Slaanesh with a greater Locus of Swiftness and 1 lesser gift. No BSB.
No BSB, I think it's bold.
I like it. I don't think you particularly need it. Nice.
You won't be saying that when you double 6 it.
No, but then
lose combat by 1 and double 6 it.
Bold play, Cotton.
It is bold play.
And it paid off for him.
It did pay off. In his core, he's got 2 units of Daemonettes. One's a unit of 29 with full command and the banner of Swiftness. The other unit is 24, again with full command and the Gleaming Pennant.
So he did have Pennant, which helps with that 1 unit potentially doing it.
Yep, and I know it did help in his last game because I was watching the game. In special, we've got 6 Fiends of Slaanesh, 1 Seeker Chariot of Slaanesh, 5 Seekers of Slaanesh. In rare, there's an Exalted Seeker Chariot of Slaanesh and 2 Skull Cannons of Khorne.
Merely there just to bring his comp score down.
Yeah, basically.
But actually, in this type of event, I think they improved his list hugely.
Yeah.
Because they had they gave him the ability to score big kill points, damage and also to deal with enemy artillery, which could have meant he just lost games on the 100-point bracket if they shoot his Keeper of Secrets and just run away for the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, his list was still very quick. It's interesting that he went for the big Exalted Chariot this time, which again denies points very well.
Yeah, 8 wounds, pretty tough to kill.
His usual army list consists like another health layer.
Yeah.
And
I think he has more chariots normally, doesn't he?
No, he has a health layer. He usually run 3: the health layer, the Seeker, and the Exalted Seeker.
Does he? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And again, the Locus of Swiftness. So it always strikes first with the Laura Shadow.
Yeah.
Not a huge shock how that goes out and gets victory points. And Michael did get a lot of them, by the way, which I think was the most impressive element of this.
Yeah, he got over 10,000.
Yeah,
scored really big victory points as well, which means he really went out for the kills. I mean, that doesn't always belie how many he conceded, and I'm sure Michael would be the first to say himself that there were some games that were really squeaky in there where he won by not a huge margin and did lose
100, 200 points. So.
Yeah. But interesting list to see. But again, all the components I want in a list for winning by 100 points. I've got the ability to reach out and grab points quickly to build up a lead. My list is fast and doesn't necessarily have to engage if I don't want it to.
Yeah.
Which helps to preserve points and control the kind of pace of the game, which is helpful.
See, now I watched basically all of Chris and Michael's last game. So it was literally the game to decide
the winner.
Who came first. And I didn't watch any of Michael's other games, but I think people potentially made a mistake, and I think Chris made a mistake in that Chris specifically got too caught up in the mission, but I think other people probably would have done it as well. Just look at those, like the Seeker Chariot, look at the 5 Seekers, and probably the Exalted Seeker Chariot, or maybe the Skull Cannons. They're relatively easy points in this list.
They're all 100 points at least.
Yeah, bar the Seekers who are like 90 something.
No, they're 100.
They're 100. 20 points each. So they're 100. They're enough. Do you know what I mean? They're enough for you to win the game, and especially in the last game against Chris. As you said, Chris had all his fortitude in 1 unit in that Eternal Guard block. And he knows, because the keeper didn't get a 2-up armor save on one of her gifts in that game, he knows that if that keeper comes at him, he's got all of the Blade Guard in the world, and the True Flight arrows even, really, to take her down, especially with Laura Shadow. So I think what I would have done is go after the chariots with Wild Riders and with the Dragon, just not worry too much about the fortitude, clear them off, because then he's only got Daemonettes to come and clear the sort of Blade Guard and Fiends, I suppose, but you'd probably put the Dragon into the Fiends because it would tear them apart.
Didn't the cannon shoot the Dragon though?
Nope.
No.
Interesting.
I mean, it did.
Nope. The Dragon charged a unit of 24 Daemonettes turn 1.
To stop itself getting shot.
To stop itself getting shot.
And then died.
And then died. Yeah, it ran away. He lost by 2 and ran away.
It's the dangerous static, whereas if you have a bad turn, and particularly when they've got a wall save like that. So it's a rash. But again, that's when we come back to the application of pressure. Michael's the perception of pressure Michael's list delivered with the cannons.
I think it was that. I also think Chris knew that he only had to kill 1 unit, and Michael would lose the game.
Yeah.
So and obviously the 24 is the smaller unit. So I think he probably was looking at that and going, actually, that Dragon should just chew through Daemonettes.
Well, you'd think so. You would think so.
Well, Daemonettes haven't got Occam's mind.
It's interesting though when
and Michael didn't have it.
To think that he couldn't then shoot them off though.
Yeah, but at that point, the Chariots had got into his Glade Guard, so he didn't really have any Glade Guard left.
It's the speed, you see again, the speed and the application.
Which is why I'd have gone for the Chariots.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so you'd have gone classic target priority and put the mission to one side.
Knowing that he has to engage my Eternal Guard, because he's got no ranged threat for units, really. You can shoot, 4 of them off the turn in each cannon. Okay. But yeah, knowing that, I think I would put them right at the back, in the forest, obviously, because you've got the Moonstone.
Yeah.
And then go, does your Keeper want to charge me? Does that block of Daemonettes want to charge me? Go for it. I'm going to drop your toughness. I'm going to drop your strength. Not your toughness, not massively matter. I'm going to drop your strength. I'm going to weapons myself. Come at me. And then turn you don't do it, or that you think actually they might charge me 2 or 3 units and I might get caught out. I just go bloop, pop into another wood.
Yeah, as long as you can. Yeah, but it's definitely doable, isn't it? Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I think again though, this goes back to that adage, and I keep saying it: apply pressure, let your opponent make mistakes, and that's really what Michael's list did. It pushed onto people, and it did it with the range power of the cannons and the control power of the magic in the early phases, and then as you say, the everything's so fast it just gets in and starts to do.
By turn 2 or 3, you are in danger of that.
And that's reflected in how many victory points he scored. He must have played like that. He must have, because you can't score that volume of victory points unless you go out and physically attack it.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. He only played, on the table in front of him, there was 12,500 victory points across the weekend. Now, in a tournament where you only have to win by 100 points, getting over 10,000 of those.
Man.
Very impressive.
Although, as we said, he will have lost in some of those games because his army's got, that fragility. He will have lost a chunk, and so needed to kind of ensure that he was ahead as well. But I think it's just a credit to see that army do well. It's lovely for Michael as well, because he's such a lovely guy. The standard of his hobby's so high.
Yeah.
So, it's great to see that. And although I know, as Max said earlier, you're going to see people going, "Oh, Demons." Again, it's a very different list, and
it's not Daemons.
The whole feel of that top 5 to me is great, because there's other than that kind of the Wood Elf list that did well at Triple Crown, they're all very, very different lists in the top 5 of this event.
Yeah.
Which is
solid.
Yeah, it's what you want, isn't it? From an event that's got a mission focus and that's different, and the whole point of designing was to have the difference in there.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. Now, there was a couple of guys that spoke to us and said about would we think about maybe like making them 200 or 250 point brackets for the win, rather than the 100 that's kind of presented in the main rulebook. And I want to allay that a little bit. There wasn't very many games that were 100 point wins, and I mean that.
I can definitely remember 2. I think there might have been a third across 5 rounds.
Yeah, there was very, very few. The game that I think was the one, potentially the one for it, was Blood and Glory, and even that wasn't a lot of them that finished very quickly on the Blood and Glory scenario.
No.
There were some that did, but it certainly wasn't in any way the sort of vast majority.
No. I think there's about maybe 3 that finished the first 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, that sort of finished in their sort of speedy, I went and did the mission and got out of it.
I dropped my wizard down a hole. The classic.
The Scott McHugh. And we've had some feedback on the Blood and Glory side as well, and we're taking all of that on board. So we're not ignoring you, but from the point of view of the core of this event being kind of win-loss draw, much more raw out of the rulebook. And kind of encouraging people to take similar power level armies and seeing how it rolls out, we're pretty happy.
Yeah,
we're pretty happy with how
absolutely.
this has gone. We're happy with the mix in the top 5, and we're really grateful that all of you came and engaged in the event in that really positive fashion. So please, if you've given us sort of constructive stuff to think about, we have definitely taken it on board. We're all over it, and we are thinking about what we might try to do to listen to some of that. But we had a great time.
We did.
We really had a good time.
We nearly melted.
I nearly melted mentally with playing games and stuff.
I don't feel it's that bad. I've melted more than I have this weekend than I have last weekend.
Yeah, it's hot in the studio at the moment.
You're mad.
I was completely fine last weekend.
You're mad. It was very hot, but we've already said it and we're going to say it again. Thank you to the venue, to Boards and Swords, who were fantastic, who had free water, icy cold water for everyone.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Which
Thank
was
you, guys.
Beautiful. And thanks for having us there.
Yep.
We had a great weekend. We are sure that everyone had a great weekend who went. We've certainly heard a lot of that back from a lot of the people.
Yeah, loads of you guys seem to have had a good time, which is great. We've already booked with the venue.
We have.
For next year. We're not going to release the date just yet,
Not
but
just yet.
get ready to roast, ladies and gentlemen, because the Derby Deathmatch is going to be returning summer 2023.
Yeah.
So if you had a great time and you want to come back again, keep your eyes peeled on the channel. We'll have all that information for you.
Beseech the gods, make it snow.
Yeah.
Make it snow in July. Make it snow in summer.
Yeah, we hope that you if you came, we hope you got to play some different armies as well. There was a real different feel in the hall. There wasn't a lot of the kind of standard stuff that you see every week, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And that top 5 really reflected it as well. And it was top 3 in detail, but that top 5 factions really represented it. But otherwise,
absolutely. So just quickly, you had to get down to 9th place before you got a duplicate of armies.
That's brilliant.
Which was Dark Elves. Yeah.
There's 2 Dark Elves in 7th, was it?
and then
9th.
then the second one was in 9th.
Yeah, and there was
So the top 8 are different, completely
4
different
Dark
armies.
Elf players that came as well.
3, 4.
Yeah, so again, they were one of the most. I think they were the most selected faction as well.
Possibly.
So
I feel like they were.
Yeah, I think they were as well. So, but yes, so we had a great time.
We did.
Make sure you let us know in the comments section or on our social media feeds if you came, if you had a good time, if you got interested next year.
Any feedback.
That's it, yeah. And as soon as we've got structure and we're ready for more, we will return with Derby Deathmatch in 2023. And as Scott said, all of us want to thank Boards and Swords Hobbies. And if you are in that neck of the woods, get down there and play some games. They are ace. And we will see you all really soon on another video. Where I'm going to ask everyone to sign off with crab claws in honour of Michael's victory. Crab claws for the sign off? Crab claws for the sign off. See you next time, guys. Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a knight of the realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright?
Do it for war!